it's hard for a reason. Been a minute trying to make it right. Saying, baby, this is our season. No, I ain't taking
What up, yo? Welcome to the Hus-Band Show podcast. I am your moderator, Perry. This is the Hus-Band Show where we talk about everything from love, life, all the way to laughs. I am Perry.
I'm Trouble T. Roy.
And your boy Vince.
And we got a special guest in the house today, Miss Lanika, Dancy.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
y'all.
Welcome in. Welcome in.
And since Vince set this one up, we're going to let him do the moderating. I'm going to sit back and relax and chill, and I might chime in a little bit.
No, you're chiming in more than a little bit.
All right. You got it, my brother. What we
Okay.
got going on today?
So this is my homegirl, friend, over 30 years?
At least.
At least 30 years. She is class of 95.
What school?
Lithonia High
Lithonia
School.
High.
Oh,
LHS Bulldogs.
That's right, L-Town. So she's also known for being a spiritualist, an alchemist, and an oracle. So we're going to dive into all that today. We're going to figure out the how that all correlates with relationships and marriage and friendship or whatever. We just want to kind of get your story.
Okay.
How did you get to be where you are now?
Ooh, child. It was a rough, rocky road. No, I'm just kidding. It really wasn't. I have not had a bad life. When I was a kid, I had dreams that were seen as premonitions. Didn't really know what to do with that, so I suppressed it. Didn't really talk about it very much. I was raised Christian, and I really wanted to follow what I thought was the right path. However, I had these different abilities. I could pick up on certain people's energy really quickly. There were certain places I couldn't go because I would literally feel ill because of the energy around, that place or that person.
Okay.
And by the time I got in my mid-20s, I said, wait a minute, it's got to be something that I'm not looking into. And that's when I started on my spiritual path
Gotcha.
of just learning different religions, different indigenous walks of life, and learning how those different cultures, religions, and spiritual walks of life coincide with nature.
Gotcha.
So I've always been really, really tied into nature. And that's really how I got here. Now, I will say this. I walked the straight and narrow path for a very long time. Had a good government job. As an accountant, I worked in finance for the state for 16 years.
Okay.
And I walked away from that life because I knew there was something else I was supposed to do.
Right.
Always been talented in cooking,
Okay.
but always had a very, very deep interest in holistic healing.
Gotcha.
And using nature to heal, using what you cook in your home to heal your body.
Okay.
So that's how I became an herbalist and alchemist.
Gotcha.
And then by the time I got to my mid-30s, that's when I started getting the visions. That's when I started being able to see people and kind of know what they were going through without talking to them.
Okay.
And that was the start of my oracle journey.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
it's been
I got it.
Now,
cool.
This is the Husband Show podcast, so I'm going to ask, are you married?
No, I am not married.
Are you seeking marriage, or is that
Not
because that's
necessarily.
everybody? I notice not everybody's.
Yeah, not necessarily. I would love a wonderful union.
Yeah.
I've been married before. I have two sons, two teenage sons, married to their father for about 6 years, and we divorced. Best of friends now. Great co-parent. Shout out Officer Dancy. Excuse me, Lieutenant. But in the future, now I do have a partner that I broke up with a couple years ago. We're still very close friends. He also helped me and my ex-husband raise our sons together. So when people talk about blended families and unorthodox relationships, I'm like the poster child for that.
Yeah.
Because I don't look at relationships from a very strict perspective. I want to be able to be the free spirit that I am, but also honor connections, honor commitment. And when I make a commitment to somebody, even though it may not work out romantically, I'm still committed to you as family.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what a real blended family is like. So whoever my next partner may be would have to be on board with that, would have to understand that these two men are still a part of my life. And they're always going to be a part of my life. Whether we're intimate, whether we're romantic or not, that's completely off the table, but they're still family. So if they can receive me and all of my family, of course I'd be open to a loving relationship.
Do you have a lot or any married couple clients? Like.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All black, or do you help everyone?
I help everybody, but I will say 2023 was my first time working with white folk when it comes to
Really?
spirituality.
Okay.
Yes. Now, I have a small body care business, so most of my customers before COVID were Caucasian. So it's not like I haven't had dealings
Right.
with them, but when it came to all things spiritual, it was kind of closed, a little more indigenous, Hispanic customers and clients, a little here and there.
Okay.
But this past year, 2023, really opened the doors for me when it came to branching out or crossing over when it comes to spirituality.
Okay. I can dig it. So I got a quick question. So when you were talking about being able to like read people's auras and kind of see what they're going through without knowing them, do you think that's something that we all born with?
Absolutely.
Because I mean, you can have. I've had that feeling too. Like you can see somebody and say like, okay, I don't want, just bad vibes or whatever. So what do you think happens in between? Because me and you talked about this, I think, like between the childhood, being born with these gifts and talents, and becoming an adult. Whether or not
Programming.
Okay.
Programming. We are programmed from about the time we turn 4 or 5. That's when the programming starts. It usually starts when you go to kindergarten.
Okay.
And it's not because of kindergarten, and I'm not going to say that it all comes through the school system, because everybody doesn't go into the school system.
Right.
But usually with most parents, they start really teaching and conditioning a child around 4 or 5 years old. They kind of let them be free up until about 3. And then like, wait a minute, you're big enough to know better now, so now I have to teach you.
Right.
But that teaching sometimes comes with a very limited mindset. And it comes with the parents' bias. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if that's how they perceive life, they're going to program that child to see life the same way, instead of allowing that child to come with the programming that their soul brought into their incarnation.
Okay.
Because you come here with certain things.
Yeah.
You come here with an agenda.
Yeah.
Everybody has an agenda.
Right.
Everybody
And
has
your
one.
parents don't always know exactly what your agenda is, but they have an agenda for you.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's like a tug of war with the child's inner self and then their first demigod, which is their parents. Small children look at their parents as God.
Right.
So they want to please their parents. They want to be treated or received as a good child. So they adopt those ideologies. And sometimes those ideologies are just not in sync with who they naturally are.
Right.
And what they came here to do.
Okay. We had I know with the New Year show, you had the statement that your friend made about monogamy.
Yeah.
Let me take a sip of water.
So yeah, I would like to know how you feel about.
Her thing is I'm not saying she was trying to say she was going that way or she wanted to change some things up, but she was saying that monogamy is just a human construct.
It is.
So as far as marriage, it's still that falls in marriage too.
Well, you don't have to have a monogamous marriage. You can have a polygamous marriage or a polyamorous marriage. The marriage is actually the agreement between the parties involved. And if those parties actually agree to that, that's what it is. It's not so much, it has to be these specific standards or these specific set of rules that you have to adhere to in order to be married. That's actually an illusion. We didn't have a marriage certificate until what, the 40s?
It's 40, something like that.
Yeah,
That's when they
but
actually
people was
started
getting married long before that.
Yeah.
And people were getting married before Christianity became a religion.
Right.
So it's an agreement between the parties involved. Sometimes it's 2 people, sometimes it's 1 man and 5 women, sometimes, if you go biblically, sometimes it's 1 man and 400 women. You never know. Sometimes it's 1 woman and 3 men. It all depends on the people involved.
That's actually against the law, though, right?
In some places.
In the United States.
In some places. Polygamy isn't against the law. Bigotry is against the law.
So just
Bigotry
marrying
is
multiple women with
the marriage
the
certificate. Exactly.
Okay.
That's crazy because I don't know how you could handle more than 1 fucking wife.
400 wives, bruh.
400 sleepless nights.
Oh my God.
I'm just fucking saying.
400 indecisive moments.
I've
where we
seen
gonna
it.
eat? Where you want to eat?
Or
Where
how
you
do I
wanna
look
eat?
in
Where you
this
wanna eat?
400 times? All y'all straight. Fuck out of here. But yeah, so let's dive into the alchemist. Please explain what that means.
Alchemy is one of my favorite things in the world. So most people see alchemy as way back in the day, somebody coming with lead and saying, hey, I need to change this lead into gold.
Okay.
But it's actually the alchemical principles that I love so much. it's not about changing lead into gold. It's about taking one thing and transforming it into something else.
Okay.
That can be your emotional state, that can be your mental health, that can be a cup of herbal tea.
Right.
It could be taking a piece of wood, burning it, using the ashes, mixing it with water, waiting until that water and those ashes turn into lye, pouring that lye into fat, and creating soap. Now you've just alchemized wood into soap. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So is it almost like, okay, so you said get the lead and gold example. So is it like more like I'm not trying to turn lead into gold, but convince you that lead is worth something? No.
Actually, you can. It's not so much that's the whole principle or the what am I trying to say here? The full objective or the main objective. The main objective isn't just to prove to you or convince you that lead is worth something, but throughout the alchemical process, you can see that what you see as garbage can be valuable,
Can be valuable. Yeah.
or what you see as worthless can actually have value. Everything has value.
So now you say you have married couples as clients. What's a big one that they bring to you? And I think I know
It's
what
cheating.
It is. Really?
Oh my
I
God.
was gonna say sex in the marriage.
No, it's cheating.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
She was like, that's it.
It's cheating.
And what do you advise them?
You have to sit back and really think about what you want in your union. And I'm real big on writing. Write down what you want. Write down what you want to get rid of. Then the other spouse writes down what they want to get rid of, and then you switch and you see where you can compromise. But at the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself. And this is what I tell my clients all the time. You have to be honest with yourself. Why did you get married? Why do you want to stay married? Why is cheating a problem for you? Because cheating isn't a problem for everybody.
Yes.
Right.
Sometimes it's like, you know what? I know that coochie belonged to me, so it can go outside and play as long as it come back home disease-free and healthy and tight. I'm good.
And make some chicken.
Right. Make the chicken. Make the rice. And make them feel good. Make them feel
Right.
appreciated.
Right.
So a lot of times, the cheating that I've seen with some of my clients is that they're looking for emotional fulfillment elsewhere. It's not just the sex. It's more so, I want to feel appreciated. I want to feel desired. I don't want you to just roll over, stick it in, bam, 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 and we done. I want him to tell me how pretty my toes are. I want her to tell me how awesome my skills are when it came to fixing her brakes. Little things like that. And so with married couples, you really have to sit down with them and figure out what it is that they really want within that union and understand, why aren't you getting it? And then you have to come to the conclusion of, well, if I've tried for this amount of years and I ain't got it yet, it might be time to move on.
Yeah, I picked what I got from that. The key word I got from that is compromise. That was something I struggled with, and I had to learn to adjust.
Whether we want to admit it or not.
Right.
I know I did.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't just run ESPN all day long.
Oh, Lord, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every now and then I gotta watch a Hallmark movie.
You
Just
gotta
a little
watch Miami CSI.
Yeah.
That SVU, baby, I'm trying to tell you.
SVU.
It saves marriages across the country.
Right. So you mentioned mental health, and I think we've all noticed since COVID, there's been like an uptick. Whereas we might not have seen so many people struggling with that before. It seems like it's everywhere now.
And people are open to talk about it now.
Right.
Like, that's a big thing.
We got sat down.
Yeah.
When you have to sit down and you have to be still, you have to listen to what's going on inside of you.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to do that. We want to stay busy. We want to focus on other people's business, because what we got going on in our mind, that chatter in the back of your head, ooh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. But COVID, the pandemic, forced us to sit down and be still. You can only watch Tiger King so many times before you just really got to sit with yourself and your feelings. And when you sit in that silence and you allow those thoughts to really come to the forefront instead of pushing them away, those thoughts bring emotions.
Yeah.
Those emotions come up from your subconscious mind. We've been pushing them down our whole lives. Then we finally get forced to sit down for a whole year. Now that subconscious mind is starting to bubble up and it wants to come through. And that's also another way that alchemy comes into play. You
I was
can
gonna ask you that.
alchemize
Yeah.
those hidden, suppressed emotions, that darkness that's in the subconscious mind, those things that you don't want to admit about yourself. You know, people go through breakups. Oh, no, I'm not hurt. I'm good. I'm straight. You know, she ain't mean
Died
nothing to
on
me.
the
No way.
inside.
Right, right. But you can alchemize that pain into power and be able to use it for your own good. I had a mentor that used to talk about she doesn't have enemies. She has friends and she has food.
Okay.
Everything that your enemies bring up against you, you use it as food. You use it as fuel. No, you don't have to retaliate. Just snatch that energy and be like, let me alchemize this into something that I can actually use. It's the same thing. So yeah, the pandemic definitely brought on a wave of mental health awareness.
Right.
And I think that was actually part of the spiritual side of the pandemic. Everything, in my opinion, happens for a reason. You know, they call it the plandemic. They say, well, they knew what they was doing, da 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 da. Who cares? The universe has a way of energy moving in an ebb and flow,
That's what I was
in a
gonna-
rhythm
yeah, I was gonna
that
say.
makes everything come together and makes everything change some kind of way.
Right.
And I truly believe that the pandemic did that for humanity, for the entire planet. Now things are really starting to shake up. Things are starting to come.
Seeing everything for the real.
Right.
Like it's
Right.
and it's so real, it's scary to a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very scary, but that's what's needed in order to change.
Yeah.
When you think of the rising phoenix, got to be set on fire and burnt all the way up before you can rise.
Before you can
That's
rise.
part of our fire. That's the purification. That's alchemy.
Okay. I like that.
All right. All right. So let's dive into my friend being an oracle.
Child. Don't get me started.
Like from the Matrix. Cause that's all I got. I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. That's
An
all I
oracle
know.
is just somebody who can see things from different perspectives, sometimes in different realms, and be able to give guidance based off of what they can see.
Because you do
Because
readings.
that's what you're
Yes.
supposed to do.
Right.
It's not that you want to do it. It's like on you, and that's
I
what
ain't
the hell
got a
you're supposed
choice.
to do. Yeah, okay.
I have tried to run from this. I'm still running from being a medium.
Okay.
I'm just not ready. I don't want to talk to the dead.
Are you
all the
afraid?
time? They get on my nerves.
Okay.
They really do.
That shit. No, I'm sorry. That came out and was supposed to be on the inside.
Because they can be a little, aggressive at times, and it's like sometimes I just don't want to be bothered.
I understand.
But I do know that is a part of my life purpose this lifetime.
But
And-
we've all had a aunt or even your mother or grandfather or
Yeah.
grandmother have told you a story about something that happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
They saw something, they saw somebody, and that shit used to spook me the fuck out.
Spook me out. Spook me out. I'll tell you. I was driving a few days. This was after my grandmother passed, and for whatever reason, because the first my family could tell you it took me a while to get past that. She meant a lot to me. She was very important in my life, and she was on my mind that night. And it was like all of a sudden I could smell her perfume that she used to wear. So, and I'll never forget this because it actually scared the shit out of me. You know what I mean? So I'm driving, and I'm on the highway, and I go around a curve, and as soon as I straighten back up, the passenger door opens.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So I had to literally pull over to close the door. And I knew what it was.
Yeah.
I knew what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you weren't scared. It
No.
kind of calming, and because that's your grandma.
'Cause
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So do you think that happens like more than we are care to admit? Like
Yes.
they have an influence on our day to day?
Yes. I do. They're always around.
Yeah.
Hold
They're
on, not
always
always.
They are always around. And look, and sometimes they high five each other and be like, look at my green baby, tearing that ass up.
Or why he doing that to himself?
Right.
Well, he know better.
Yeah. I told him about that.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you relate what you do and how you feel towards generational curses? I know we touched on it with the phone call with the cat and all that jazz.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
how do you relate what you do and generational curses and how you resolve them or push them to the side or bury them or whatever?
Okay, well, it starts with self first. I had to break my own generational curses.
Okay.
And that was a very intense process. Looking at the women in my family and the patterns over the years that kind of spread across generations and on both sides, my paternal side and my maternal side. I had to go through and really see what those patterns were and how they related to my life, and go ahead on and put my foot down with myself to recondition myself and gain new habits and all of that good stuff. So once I was able to break generational curses within my own family, now I help others through my abilities as an oracle, an astrologer, hypnotherapist, to see what those patterns are with them and how they relate to them, and then come up with solutions for them to be able to break those generational curses. Because generational curses are nothing more than habits. They're habits. They're repetitive habits.
What are some?
It's a
of the-
trap. I don't believe
What
in
are some of
curses.
the habits or generational curses that
Ooh,
you've seen
let's
that,
go
that
with-
people want help with breaking?
That how do I put myself
Sorry, y'all.
first?
No, you good. You good.
How do I put myself first as a black woman? Something we've been conditioned not to do. You put your children first. You put your husband first. You put God first. You put everything first. And if you have anything left over, that's what you use for yourself. And you probably gonna feel guilty for that too. And so what that has done is it has conditioned us to tolerate a bunch of crap that we shouldn't be tolerating. It conditions us to do things to our bodies that we shouldn't be doing because we just need that fix. Like for instance, with me, with smoking, coffee, sweets. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. It was like, well, if I can just get me a little nip, if I can just get this and I'll feel better. And now I can carry on to do for my children, do for my husband, do for my job. And so all of those things kind of go back into the black woman never putting herself first. But with putting ourselves first, we can actually become stronger for everybody who depends on us. We become a better woman to y'all. We become a better mother. We become a better servant. If we put ourselves first and can really sit down and take care of us,
Right.
and focus on what we want. But that has been a huge generational curse. And it was going on before slavery. Slavery just made it way worse because now, we're just basically robots. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but it was happening before then. And so that's the main generational curse I see. The second most popular one I see with my clients, and I even dealt with it with myself, is the workforce. Thinking that we have to have a specific type of job, and if we don't have that specific type of job, we're not successful. Right. And that goes against what you're naturally gifted at. What you really came here to do may not be accounting. But your parents told you accounting was good. Your high school counselor told you, accounting was good. So we think that because we see society in a certain way, or society is projected to us in a certain way, that we have to fit inside that box in order to be deemed professional, successful, and worthy. And we really don't. You can really go about making money however you want to. But nobody is, most people just aren't brave enough to do that. It's like,
Well, I don't agree with that. I'm gonna tell you because part of the challenge in what you're saying, it sounds great if everybody can live equally, right? But unfortunately, we don't have that ability. And what I mean by that is, I got bills, you got bills, you got bills, you got bills, right? I can't go work at McDonald's. That's just not a reality.
Right.
Because I can't afford to live. Yeah. I might be a passionate hamburger flipper. Dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I might be great as hell on fries, but that shit ain't paying the bills. That's not a curse. That's not a trap. That's reality.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel you, but at the same time, if you can see that, then you gotta know, like, that's not enough. You gotta figure out a way.
No. Before that, see, we all had the same opportunity in the kindergarten.
Did we?
Oh, we did. The ABCs is ABCs. I don't give a damn how you slice it. We all had to learn how to say the ABCs, right?
Right.
We all had to learn how to add and subtract. Those are requirements. You choose to do it your way, I'm going to do it my way, right?
Okay.
If the teacher's telling me 2 plus 2 is 4, I'm going to have to believe what she's telling me 2 plus 2 is 4. Because eventually, that 2 plus 2 is going to be used for me to get a higher education. Okay. You can keep being 2 plus 2 being 3 because you're good with your hands. So math ain't that important, right?
I see where you're going.
I do too.
What kind of job you going to get? Yeah. Something to do with your hands. There's only so much income, right? Takes us all the way back to how do you afford to live? You got to find a skill that you can provide from your family.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you a question. When you said there's only so much money you can make working with your hands, can you elaborate on that with me?
Yeah. I mean, if if you don't have a lot of skill, not a lot of skill. If you don't have a lot of education toward that skill, there's a cap.
Right.
I can be one of the most talented constructors. What do you call those journeyman contractors? I can be one of the most talented ever. But if I don't have a license, I don't have a bond, I don't have the shit that you actually need, it's gonna limit my ability to make money. Because I'm not gonna hire. Would you?
Right.
You gonna hire a non-licensed contractor?
No, an unskilled worker.
But he does good work.
Yeah.
Right.
So guess what happens to get that license?
All right.
Guess
well,
what's
let's chime
required to
back
get the
in,
license? You got to go to school.
When it comes to the generational curse that I was referring to is the mindset of having to do something a specific way and not being able to be innovative, not being able to follow, study, and enhance your passion so that you can make enough money. I wasn't necessarily saying that the generational curse is that, you should be able to make a living working at McDonald's. No, but if you are skillful with your hands, just like you said, you got to make sure that you put that passion that you have for working with your hands into achieving those goals, those certifications, that knowledge, and that wisdom and how to apply it. If you don't do that, because you are under this curse programming of, well, since it's going to take all of that, I might as well just go over here and do this. And now you've wasted all that talent in your hands. Because you just said, well, you know what, I'm just going to be a data entry clerk because, that'll at least get me by.
And that's the trap. That ain't no curse. That's
it's a
laziness.
trap. If it's a curse when it's something that's taught and passed down through generations.
I don't agree
that
with that.
mindset is taught, just similar to unhealthy eating habits are a generational curse because you're taught from a very young age that this is okay. This is what you should do. Right. It ain't gonna hurt. It ain't gonna hurt. But grandma, you just had your third heart attack last year. What you mean it ain't gonna hurt?
But as you get older, you make a decision.
And that's breaking the curse.
So I don't really think it's a curse. It comes down to you making your own. You got to make a decision.
So
you make a decision to get an education. That ain't no curse. You make a decision to further your education so that you can make more money. That's not a curse.
What's a curse to you?
A curse is, well, I don't believe in curses, first of all. So I definitely don't believe in that. What I think we use it as is a cover up for laziness. It's a real quick cop out. My daddy used to do it, so I'm gonna do it. That's what that is. We talked about it on the last show.
So when you fail, you got
your daddy smoked crack, so now I'm gonna smoke crack. Was that a curse?
I feel what you're saying.
Did what I'm saying? Just because your daddy smoked crack, now you smoke crack?
Yeah. And to me,
that ain't how it works.
That's what makes it a curse.
No, I'm saying in general.
We know your daddy wasn't a crackhead.
But you did what I'm saying?
You don't even look like the product of a
But you did what I'm saying.
You are right.
Because the person in front of you did it, don't make you have to do it.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, so let's go back to what you said about everybody starting off on the even playing field. How much can we consider in the home environment to play into that? Because if you go home to a house where you have no supervision or no food, you ain't gonna learn anyway. Because how are you gonna pay attention to anything that's being taught to you if your stomach grumbling?
I agree with that. That a kid can't control that part.
Right.
But as they get older, they get to make a decision. What they get to make the decision of is, you know what? When I was a kid, this was fucked up. I ain't living like that. When I get to be an adult and I get my own kids, they not gonna live like that. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a trap. It's not a curse. It's the trap becomes more valuable when we have a bunch of knuckleheads that just think I ain't finna go to school. I'm not gonna pay attention because somebody told me I don't have to because I can use my hands, and when I get older, I'll become an entrepreneur. Okay. That's the generation we got right now. We got a generation full of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, big time.
That don't know shit.
Yeah.
But they finna come tell you how they gonna create some shit. That's what we got. And that's not a curse. It's a trap.
I don't think that's a curse. But for me, a curse is something that works in opposition of you. Therefore, that trap is a curse.
Well,
it's just different terminology.
Different words away.
It's just a different terminology. But a curse. Right. So when you have a curse, same thing. Because when somebody curses you, they're doing something to put an obstacle in your way, to retard you from doing something, to stop you from succeeding. So that's what a generational curse is. A curse isn't necessarily, ooh, I put a spell on you. It's not that. It's anything that rises up in opposition of what's for your greater good.
But I think that's what people automatically think.
It's voodoo.
They think it's, they shouldn't put that root on me.
Yeah. And that's part of it because that's what we've been taught. You know what I mean?
It's definitely real. It's definitely, man. It's definitely
Who
witches.
don't believe in witchcraft?
It's definitely
Oh, I
witchcraft.
can
It's
show you
witches
some
in this
things.
world.
Don't
There's
show
a
me
whole
shit.
lot of them,
I don't believe it.
and they will put a hex on your
Okay,
ass.
so
in a
this
minute.
is the non-believer as far as that goes.
Yeah.
You like soup?
Soup.
Vegetable
What?
soup.
I don't think no
Chicken-
more.
chicken
What
noodle- chicken
you about to
noodle
say? Yeah. What? Yeah.
You ever had your grandmama or your mama make you a pot of soup when you were
What's
sick?
the origins of soup?
And it made you, you were sick and it made you feel better?
Yeah.
That's witchcraft, baby.
That ain't no damn. That's
Okay.
onions.
Witchcraft is
Carrots.
nothing more than nature, the elements, spoken word, and intention.
And sometimes, speaking from my perspective, it didn't even require soup. It just required her to kiss me on the forehead and say,
That's
"You're gonna be
witchcraft.
okay."
That's right. She
Ain't no
spoke
damn
it.
witchcraft. That's
Back
what
in the
I'm
day
saying,
when
being
folks
a
used
mama.
to go in their healing closets or their prayer
Oh yeah,
closets.
oh yeah.
Witchcraft.
No doubt, no doubt.
Same thing.
My
Same
mother
thing.
did the candles, and she used to write some shit on a paper, put it under the candle, and put the candle on top of it, and let the candle burn all the way. I used to be like, "What in the hoodoo?"
Your
is
mama
going-"
did that. And you don't believe that a lot of them petitions and them
And then
candles is
she-
what
after the
saved your
candle
butt.
burned out, she would burn the paper.
Okay.
And your mother was a Christian.
You know, remember the prayer candles with all the sayings and all that shit?
Yeah.
And I,
Because you
all
know,
them candles that
hoodoo
we still
is a
broke it
Christian path.
Huh?
Hoodoo is a Christian path.
It is.
You can't practice hoodoo without Christianity.
Okay, so let's move into the spiritualist part then.
Okay.
Explain that.
Okay, what got
What
me
you
more
just said,
specific?
the
with
Christ-
hoodoo and Christianity.
Yeah.
Hoodoo is a spiritual path that African American slaves came up with when they were introduced to Christianity, and they were told, "We're gonna beat you if you do not follow this Bible and convert and proclaim yourself as being washed in the blood, a believer of Jesus, and all of that good stuff." But they also had all these indigenous things that they did spiritually, working with nature, working with the elements, working with the voice
stuff
and
they
touch.
brought with them.
Yes, the things they brought with them. So they said, well, how can we cloak still being able to do these things that we know work without getting beat to death?
Yeah.
And so they brought that Christianity in, brought that natural stuff in, and meshed it together.
Okay.
The founder of the Kojic Church was a magician.
Oh, I know. I was raised in the
You
Church
know
of
what
God
I'm
of
saying?
Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
Shawty was about that life.
I know.
You
I
know
know.
what I'm saying?
Motherfucker.
And powerful with it.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
And so, because I'm taking a class now on Money Mastermind. I think it's called Money Magic Mastermind or Money Mastermind Magic, something like that. But we're using the Book of Psalms
Okay.
to create spell work for prosperity.
That's what my mother used to scare us with. Like when we were
With the
doing shit
Psalms?
we wasn't supposed to be doing, she would read the Psalms just
Yeah.
to scare the shit.
The Psalms are nothing but
Get-
spells.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them are spells.
Just like, I don't like
You've
this.
got protection spells in there, prosperity spells, spells of war, spells to stop war, all kinds of stuff is in
Yeah.
there. And so it works. It really does work. One of the things that helped me become a firm believer in spirituality
Okay.
and how energy works is cymatics.
Okay.
Cymatics is when you speak into water, you take a droplet of that water and you freeze it and you look at it under a microscope.
Okay.
The molecules in the water change based off of what's spoken into it.
Okay.
And I'll get you some information on that, on the guy who wrote the book
Right.
on it, Japanese scientist. It's
Okay.
like, wait a minute, how water records what you say. It records energy. And so when I saw how the frozen droplets of water looked when you speak positively into the water, they look like pretty little snowflakes. But when you get to cussing and hollering and acting a fool, they look all broken and muddled and dark. And I was like, okay, now, well, if nature say this, then there's got to be some truth to this whole energy thing. You know what I mean? There's a scientific part to that. But we were taught by Western society
Right.
that science and spirituality are completely different. But all science is spirituality in the physical. It's the same thing. They work together, So once you learn how the elements work, fire, water, air, earth, and ether or spirit.
Okay.
Once you learn how all that works, and then you learn quantum physics along with regular old school physics, the Hermetic principles, which are also known as the universal laws, the first 7 universal laws, all is mind, correspondence, relativity, all that good stuff. Once you learn all of that, you see how energy can be manipulated.
Okay.
That's all that spell work is. Manipulating energy by using those principles, those elements, your voice, and touch.
Okay.
So in today's society, the way everything's moving now, what advice would you give to young men and women that are probably looking to get married or want to create a family? Like, because I know it's way different than when we grew up,
right?
And even our parents, like they're influenced by so much. Like, how could you find the real person you need through all this bullshit?
Find yourself first. If you don't know who you are, you're going to marry the wrong somebody. 9 times out of 10. Sometimes, you look up and you be like, oh, yeah, I got it right. But most of the time, young folks don't even know who they are yet. And when you get married young and then you start having kids young, now you got a marriage to be responsible for. You've got a family to be responsible for. So you really don't have time to soul search. You really don't have time to get to know who you really are and what you like and what you don't like. So my advice to young men and women who do want a stable marriage or long-lasting marriage, learn who you are, accept the fact that you can change, and your person can change too.
It's gonna happen.
And be willing to roll with the changes.
Okay.
All right. I like that. So, one more question from me. I don't know what the fellas got. In marriages over 20 plus years, we know that, people change. You're not the same person you were when you married this person and all that good stuff like that. Is that a thing that you would tell people to look out for? Or just look, you got to learn how to navigate your way through that shit. Like, don't even try to figure it out.
Don't try to figure it out, because then you're going to figure out something and then something else going to change.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah.
Trying to search and find out, okay, let me get this right. Let me make sure I know this is coming. And you can do that to a certain extent through things like numerology and astrology. There are ways that you can kind of see what may be coming down the pipe. But that is not going to be able to tell you how you're going to react to it and how it's going to make you feel. And that's really what you have to navigate through. You have to navigate through your emotional reaction to change, more so than just, because anybody can fix a change real quick. Oh, McDonald's moved over here on this street. Oh, all I got to do is drive over there. But you got to deal with how it makes you feel to have to drive way across town just to get that Big Mac that you probably shouldn't be eating anyway.
No.
But that's a different story.
They got that new double though.
Oh yeah.
4 patties on that bitch.
Don't nobody need 4 patties.
Whoa.
From
I'm
y'all.
gonna try it.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm gonna try it just because I got to. Yo, I ate
gotta
that.
try it.
You remember the double-licious thing, KFC? The 2. Oh, I ate it, bro. Instantly. Nap time.
Yeah.
Nap
Remember we used
time.
to kill
Whole
the
body had to
Baconator?
shut
Oh my God, we used to. Oh yeah. I don't even want to go there.
The
So,
triple baconator from
oh,
Wendy's.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, son of Baconator. So I got a question, like in terms of seeking a mate or maintaining a happy, good relationship with the mate, how does astrology play in that? Like the compatibility with the different,
Because I don't believe in that either.
with the compatibility with the different signs.
I can't
like,
wait to do your chart
I
then.
don't. I do not.
Yeah, synastry is a real thing.
Okay.
And a lot of astrologers charge big bucks for synastry reports.
Oh yeah.
Where you have your birth information, your partner's birth information, and how those placements aspect each other. Because astrology is based off math.
Okay.
It's geometry. Is really all it is. So the degrees of the angles that those lines cross with your different placements can show you some serious things about your relationship, some things to look out for, some things to possibly try to overcome. And it just gives the couple a chance to see what you're working with on a skeleton type of assessment.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? There's going to be a whole lot more that comes with this,
Break
but
it
this
down
gives
to
you
its basics.
right. This gives you like the little skeleton part of it, so that you can see, well, okay, we got this bull crap over here, but I know that a lot of this bull crap is really just coming from this particular aspect.
Right. So it's like looking at an X-ray.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Like for instance, if somebody's Mars a Mars placement opposes their partner's Venus placement. Mars is how you move. It's your motivation. It also governs war, sex, aggression, anger, passion, and ambition. Your Venus, it's just like the planet. It's all about love. It's what you find valuable, what you find attractive, what you're drawn to. So if their Mars is in opposition of the other person's Venus, then what they do is not going to be attractive to them. They may look attractive, but how they move and things they do, and even in the sack, how they make love may not be what this person really wants.
Okay.
But now if they're in conjunct with each other,
Right.
or trine, or sextile, those are positive aspects. And like I said, it's based on geometry, so there are all these angles and degrees and all this kind of stuff that goes into it.
Okay.
But if the Mars and Venus are compatible, then that'll show you that how this person's work ethic, how they make love, how they deal with anger is actually compatible or attractive to this person with a specific Venus placement.
Okay.
And so it's way bigger than just your sun sign. Everybody want to go by their zodiac. Well, I'm a Cancer,
yeah,
so
the good
I'm
stuff.
compatible
stuff.
with this and that. Baby, you got 11,000 placements.
That's what I always tell people, like they talk about they believe in astrology and stuff like that. I say, but you look at the horoscopes, like you read them, it's always good shit. It's never like, oh boy, you about to get your ass whooped today. You don't even know,
That's the ones they put in the
you
paper.
got to go through it. Yeah.
But if you go to a real astrologer, it
Yeah.
is not always good.
So how does it work when you're like on the line? Because I look at some horoscopes and my sign will be Sagittarius. Others it might be Scorpio because November 22nd.
It depends on the year
Okay.
that you were born.
Okay.
Now, if you were born in the year where Sag season started on the 22nd,
Okay.
you're a Sag.
So that's how you should do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
okay.
if you were born in a year where
know.
Sag season
That's
started
why
on
we
the
did it.
23rd,
I know.
it's the 23rd, so that means that you're not a Sag. If you were born on the 22nd, you're a Scorpio.
Okay.
When's your birthday?
December 18th. What the hell that mean? What that mean?
Anybody else got any questions?
Oh, you got some for it?
Because I ain't anybody.
Anybody?
I don't got
Anybody?
shit at
want-
all
I ain't gonna do
today,
y'all
man.
Sages like that.
I'm quiet.
Anybody? Yeah,
You
I'm
know anything for
open
me?
to.
That's the most random question.
Sure.
I feel like it's too random because
No, just throw it
No,
out there.
throw it out there.
Have you seen what they were talking about in Miami?
Child.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
Absolutely.
Cool. So what do you think
Keeps
about
me
that?
going.
You know what I'm saying? David Icke, Bill Cooper, you name it. I'm with all of Jesse Ventura. Yeah.
Do you think what they're explaining is possible?
Very possible.
And what are we talking about? So
We're
everybody-
talking about
Opened
the
up in a mall.
portal opened, so they say.
portal, yeah.
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Right.
But they say a portal opened in Miami, and these 10-foot shadowy beings came out of that portal. Yes, Charlie. If you pull up the footage, it's like people
So
running
I
for
heard
their
about
life,
it. I
baby.
did hear about
It was so hilarious. I'm like,
But
got y'all.
see, but the arrogance of us to think we're the only things out here
Right.
that's
Absolutely.
intelligent, that
Right.
can survive,
Right.
and thrive and create communities, and you know what I'm saying. So
Right.
it's
Well, we ain't talking
society.
about an
And we
extra,
kind of dumb too.
like
so.
a different being. We're
They
talking about
said
a ghost.
some kind of thing walked out of
A ghost.
portal.
They said some shit just opened up in the ground.
It
Right?
manifested.
And
yeah.
some. Come on.
And evidently, based on the police
Fuck outta
response, they were black.
Oh yeah, what the fuck out of
Hey,
here? Of course they
Niggas
black.
coming from space, baby.
I'm just
Of course they
saying.
black.
Did
I
you
was
see
about
all
to
the
say,
police
sure
out
enough,
there?
Nobody white. They was coming for us.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
they come
right.
to pick us up.
They was coming to get us. They was like, it's got to be some of them.
Well,
Let's
hold
go.
on. Where
I'm
we
just playing.
going? Do they have Popeyes? There's some things I need to know before I go.
Where they going? You won't
Hey,
have
man,
a
if
body.
you go with one of
that
their
need
ass,
Popeyes.
that's on you.
Oh, back to your question.
No, you not.
Yes,
You
I
my boy.
absolutely
You ain't
do.
got to worry
Troy,
about
let's
that
go see
shit.
what's popping over here.
I can tell you right now, I
We
don't
gonna
believe in
let
no
the boys
fucking
play.
ghosts.
'Cause you know that's
And
what they do.
if I was in that mall while all these people running around, they seen all these fucking ghosts, I'd
So
be
they got
fresh as
footage
hell
and
because
all
I'm
that
wiping that
It's-
shit out.
It's
I'm
supposed to
going
be
through
footage.
clean out all
It's
them
supposed
fucking
to be
stores.
footage, but it's
Stupid
blurred,
ass thing is
so
a
you
ghost in
can't
here.
really-
Run on off of here. I'm
Right.
taking everything out the goddamn mall.
So you
I
about
would-
to get fresh.
Fresh as hell. I'm stealing everything. Fuck y'all mean
And
it's a
when one of
ghost
them
in
walk
here.
up on you, you're going to be like, hey, Shawty, how they look?
A ghost in here, yeah.
So one of the things that I did hear, because I have a lot of conspiracy theorist friends, is that the portal opened by accident. The coordinates were off.
We did
Go
it.
to Antarctica.
Yes, ma'am.
Antarctica, exactly.
Yes, ma'am. Because that's where they live, you know. And There's a reason why you can't fly over
Do you
Antarctica.
believe in the ice wall? Do you believe there's different
Yes.
worlds?
Yes.
Ice wall?
Yes. And yes.
We can talk.
All day.
And
And
then this was what's so sad. So how she's way younger than any of us up here,
Mm-hmm.
and she knows these things, and she's kind of well versed on it. We've been knowing them, but we don't fucking talk about it because how we gonna be looked at by our peers?
right, and that's one of the
It's
things.
weird.
To that generational.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. It's this particular generation don't give a fuck.
No, they
You know
gonna
what I'm
they
saying?
get you
And
out
I
of
love
here.
that.
Period.
And so, like, when you were saying, we got a generation of entrepreneurs that don't know shit, but those entrepreneurs that don't know shit, that's what, and it's going to cause some instability. For sure. It's going to cause some horrible chaos. But that's what's needed for innovation
It's
and
already
growth.
causing horrible chaos.
Yeah,
We
we
got
need that
more
horrible chaos.
30-year-olds that live with their parents today than ever in the history of this whole world.
Can't have creation without chaos.
You know why? Because they ain't got no fucking money. You know why? Because they didn't want to go to school and learn shit. You know why? Because somebody told their ass, you know what? You can own your own business and be rich.
Overnight.
Not every business owner is rich.
That's
Do
true.
y'all know that?
I've
There's
been
a whole lot of
watching-
poor-ass business owners.
That's absolutely true.
Why you
There's a
think
whole
that's the
lot
case?
of poor ass employees too, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
You know why you got poor-ass business owners? Because they did not do the bottom part to educate themselves to become very successful financially.
That's true.
They copped out.
Go ahead.
So, school, like you were telling, is programming, and they want you in a cycle.
Yeah.
The cycle is go to school for 12 years, go to school for another 4, so you can be in debt, so you can constantly pay that off.
No?
People like us saw a different path of, hey, I can follow my dreams and intuitions, and I can put the visions in my head in front of me, and people are going to like that, they're going to buy that. We use social media every day. I wake up, sometimes before I pray, I touch my phone. And that's not something I'm proud of, but
But it's a reality.
it's making people money, because sometimes I get up in the morning, I'm online shopping. That money that I'm spending is going to their business, which is making them rich.
That's a little bit different from what I'm talking about. I understand what you're saying, because there is somebody making a lot of money on every time you touch that phone. But I guarantee you the person who's making all that money, they ass got a whole lot of education. They got doctor in front of their name. That's the kind of shit in front of their name.
With this particular generation, there are a lot of people who really are making big bucks without that education.
They got some kind of skill, they got some kind
They
of
have a
trade, and they have
skill,
documents.
they
You
have
don't
a
just
trade,
show up and say I'm good
and
at it.
they do a lot of YouTube University too. And what it is like you can have all the documents and the credentials that you want, but if you don't have the cojones to fight against a programmed system that has been in place and that has been quote unquote tried and true, if you ain't got the balls to really go out there and do that shit, it don't matter how many.
Yeah, because
documents
you got to think about it. Most of the billionaires, they flip the script at some point.
Yeah.
You
They
know what I
quit.
mean?
And
yeah.
They said, I'm
the
not gonna
smartest
finish
one
my
in the
degree
room.
at Harvard.
They hire the smart people.
It ain't
Exactly.
about being the smartest one in the room. It's about the sacrifice that you got to give to get. See, that's the part. That's the part that's
what
not a trap.
everything know.
I don't give a damn what it is you do.
That's
If
everything.
if you're not putting in the effort to get it, it ain't gonna be worth shit.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to finances and your stability as a human, that's the biggest part of our life. You cannot live without money.
No, you can't.
I don't give a damn how great it sounds. I'm gonna follow my dreams and I'm gonna do all this dream shit. You can't take dreams to Publix. They don't take them in fucking Walmart.
That's true.
They want
And that
cash.
kind of brings me to
Your dream ain't producing
new
the money.
movement of
That ain't nothing but some
off-grid
fake, some bullshit.
off-grid living. This younger generation is more apt to or more open to living off-grid
These motherfuckers buy containers,
Tiny
turn them
houses.
into houses.
and
Tiny
refuse to pay a mortgage and live good
Right.
They
Whereas
refuse to shop
They
at a
live
grocery
on
store.
their parents' land,
Yes.
and I'm not mad at that.
at
Right.
all,
That's
because that's what
smart.
my father wants me to do. He wants me. He was like, "Baby, just come and live on my land." I'm like, "No, I'm gonna stay in the city a little bit longer." It's like, you don't have to do that. You know, my father was the first person to show me the bullshit of the system.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mother.
He never left the system, but he wanted me to see that there is a different way to live, and you're not bound to live in this country either. And whenever somebody American tells you that you live in the best country in the world, he said they are lying
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
They are
I really
lying
believe
to
that.
you.
I
And
agree
so now
with
this
that. I
younger
ain't gonna say
generation
we
is
live in the
starting
best
to
country in the
realize that there's
Maybe
different
one of
ways
the
you can do things.
Koreas.
But I
And-
tell you what, in order to live in this country, your ass got to have some money. I don't give a
You gotta
damn.
have some money, but
And everybody can't live off their parents. Because that's the cycle that we're creating right now.
And that's not fair.
That's the cycle that's starting. The cycle that's starting right now is we got a bunch of 30-year-olds that still live with their parents.
Yeah.
And guess what's gonna happen when they have kids? Now they 30-year-old ass kids gonna be living with their parents. Then guess what happens when they have kids? They're gonna be 45 living there. Then the next one gonna be 50 living there. Before you know it, they never live with. They
I've
never
been
leave.
watching this show called The Gilded Age, and I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. It's on HBO Max.
Does it have
And-
dragons in it?
No,
Okay.
I deal with them in person.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. But no, it's called Gilded Age, and it's about old America losing its grip to new America. The money is shifting. You know, J.P. Morgan, George Russell, all of them are coming in, and all of those ones who came over on the Mayflower and the descendants of the Mayflower, they're like,
Yeah.
you can't do this, you know? And they're like, no, we got a different way. Yeah, my daddy was a potato dicker. Yeah, you know, my daddy was a slave. You know, he was an Irish slave, but still a slave. You know, and so they come up with these different innovative ways to do things that are completely against what this country supposedly was built on.
Right.
And they're making money hand over fist to the point where the old world is eventually pushed out. That's what's happening in this country now. It just looks way different. They're coming up with way different like way off the wall type ways to do things. And our generation X and the boomers are looking at them like, what is wrong with y'all?
Yeah.
Every
This is going to
generation
be
is like
terrible.
that.
You know, our generations are, you know, we have the same stance that you have. But these young folks are coming in and they're changing things to the point where eventually it is going to work for them.
Because it takes trial and error.
Exactly.
That's what networking and people who do their own things. When you network with somebody, you're listening to what they're saying. You're like, okay, it's not working for you. I'm gonna try it differently.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone's doing the same thing.
And if
'cause
I
they're
don't
trying
need
to
you
learn off of other
right
people.
now,
Right.
if I don't
Right.
work with you right now, I got you in my mind
Right.
for something later
Right.
on, or I could connect you to somebody else.
That I also, that I know that, you know,
Plan behind it.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And
I hope the plan.
It creates
I hope the plan
chaos.
includes being able to support yourself financially and having actual stability. Because here's what the banks want to hear. All that shit sounds great
They on
until you
borrowed
go and
time.
apply for a home loan, and they tell your ass no. Why did I get denied? You don't have a credit history. You don't have a stability history. You don't have a job that actually shows that you can afford to pay this mortgage for 30 years. That shit matters. What don't matter is I got all this nice car, this fresh clothes, all this shit on social media. That's a bunch of bullshit. The majority of the people that got that shit on social media are poor. They don't own their own homes.
And at the same
They don't
time,
own that kind of
yeah,
shit.
but that's what they're trying to break up.
No, what
Like,
we're doing
you
is we're
having to
feeding
go
into
to
it.
a
We're
bank
making that shit now
to get a
become,
loan.
oh, I can do that too. That's what we getting. We getting the, oh, you're
Yeah,
an
I agree.
influencer? So I want to be an influencer. You're a housewife? I want to be a housewife. What the fuck is a housewife?
But at the same time, what I'm saying is, as far as the machine, like
Right.
the bank telling you can get a loan, you get like, who the fuck are you that you own this land anyway? Who the
That
fuck?
part.
This is the earth.
Oh, no, they don't
And-
own the
and
land,
you
but here's
stole
what they
this
do
land from
own.
somebody else.
They own
Exactly.
your ability to be able to purchase that
That's
land.
true. And
Right?
that's
Unless
what
you
they're
walking
trying
around
to
with
break
enough
up.
cash in your pocket. Again, going back to having some money. If you ain't got a bunch of cash in your pocket, you ain't buying shit. And if
That's
you
what-
don't have
that's what
cash
they're
and you
trying
got
to
good
disrupt.
credit, you can buy whatever you want.
But that's what they're trying to disrupt because it's bullshit off the rip. Because
Right.
when the bank gives you money for a house,
Yeah, it's
the
a
bank
system
does
of
not
slavery.
have that money.
Yeah, it's another system of slavery. It's
So
financial
that's
slavery.
what they're trying to change. And I
Hold
wish
on,
it.
hold on. I think I just missed all of that. So wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm clear. The bank don't own these homes. You know that, right?
I know that.
Okay, so the bank is only the tool to loan you the money to purchase the home.
Other people's money.
Yeah, that's how they make money. A bank makes money based on our deposits, right? They sweep that deposit every single night. It goes right back into Wall Street. Okay, and every night the bank make money on our money. The next morning they put your money back in your account. For you lending them your money to do that, they pay you small percentages. Checking account may earn you 0.9, which is damn near nothing. So you don't really earn any money letting them use your money. But what that gives you the ability is gives you stability. It gives you a credit rating. So when it's time for you to go and actually make a large purchase that most of us can't just come out with $500,000 out our hand, right? You got to go to that bank and show them where you got the ability to repay them. They're going to go look at your credit. They're going to look at your credit history first of all, but they also going to look at your employment history. If you look at your credit report, it states where you work for a reason because they want to know that you can pay them back. Nothing in this world will work without credit.
Nothing in
Nothing
this
will
country
So
will
you
work
can
without
pay
credit.
back other people's money. That's what we do. It's right back full circle to what we're saying.
And is that the
They're saying-
true key to happiness?
Yeah.
You know
But
what I mean?
if you don't have the means to be able to get the tool, you stuck living in your mama's house.
But see, they don't want to go that route, and I'm not saying they actually want to just stay at home, be bogged down by our rules, because we got our rules.
How can they move?
Bruh, they figuring this shit out.
They not.
And yes, they are.
I'm telling you, they not.
It's way more millionaires at 25, 26 than it was for us
You're
legally.
absolutely
Because
right
the
about
money's
that.
different.
Legal.
The money's more expensive now. It's not the amount of people. It's because $1 million
No, it's not
ain't
about
shit
the amount
anymore.
of people. It's more so there's no way to put it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They got the balls to actually take that risk to be able to make that million quickly.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah.
We were
It's
told
people that work a job to make $1
we were
million.
told play it safe.
I have
Hold
a
on.
question for you. So, you know how you was talking about 30-year-olds living with their parents.
Speak.
How do you feel about other races that do that for their whole life?
'Cause that's what they do.
Hispanics, they stay in the same house.
Mm-hmm.
Their family, say the mom and dad has kids, and then those kids have kids. They stay together forever.
Because we
No,
were taught
I think that's a
18,
myth.
Get out.
I think that's a myth.
Dumbest
But
shit
that
in the world.
helps them though financially.
Right, and I think what you're seeing, you're seeing that's exactly right. What you're saying, you're seeing families where they do pile up together to get themselves straight. Right. I came from Detroit. We got Arabs. We call them Arabs.
No,
When
No
I was
offense.
7, 8 years old, we couldn't understand why you got one family that got 4 or 5 mama and daddies in the same house. I mean, one household got 4 or 5 mama and daddies in the same house, and all these kids.
They got money.
We tripping on them, right? Like y'all, 50 people living in that little ass
we
house.
clowning them.
Guess what? Guess today now, right? You fast forward to 53 years, us being 53 years old, and them all are millionaires living in their own mansions. So it was a means to get to somewhere. I totally agree with the village helping you to get to where you need to go. My point is, when you're an entrepreneur and you really don't have a means to get there outside of your dream and what you hope would happen, that don't put money in your pocket and don't give you stability. That makes you rely on your parents that got the job, the one that's getting up every morning, going to work while you dreaming, right? That's what I'm talking about. It's a difference if you living with me and you 30 years old and you got your job and you got income and you trying to prepare yourself to get to the next level. That's the tool that we want you to use. Not, I'm going to live in your basement because I'm 30 and I'm dreaming of being a rapper. I'm dreaming of being a music producer. I'm dreaming of, that's a bunch of dreams. That's bullshit.
I had a question for you. So what do you think as a parent would be a healthy way to raise a child to actually go after their dreams in a structured, productive way?
You start with the education piece, right? So, for an example, if you have an individual that wants to, okay, let's start with Jordan. He's real time. He's sitting there right now, right? Jordan decides he want to be a photographer. As his parent, you want to help him become a photographer, but you also got to make sure you understand, hey, Jordan, it's more than just picking up this camera and taking pictures, right? You become more valuable when you come as Jordan, blah, blah, blah. Meaning when Jordan's got some title behind his name, or Jordan's got some certificates behind his name. Now it ain't just Jordan's mouth saying something. It's Jordan's paperwork backing it up. So as a parent, I'm going to push you to go get everything you need to be successful, and it's going to start with the education piece.
You don't think
because
it
I
starts
can't
with
walk in there
exposure?
and say I'm Troy. But when I come in there and say I'm Troy with a financial degree, and this is why I work in finance, you're going to listen. Now, if I just tell you I work at the bank, whatever. But you tell you, well, you know what? I've actually been doing this for 30 years and I have a degree in finance. You're going to listen a little bit further,
I
right?
definitely see what you're saying, but I also see several other perspectives. As a parent of 2 sons myself, one of my oldest son is very artsy. He's quirky. If it's got something to do with fashion, music, art, photography, he's all for it. Anything squeaky clean, he don't want to do that. I know that. I've known that about him his entire life. So instead of just preaching education, I gave him exposure. And then I actually put him in certain circles so that he could be exposed to people who do what he one day wants to do. Then that led to an internship. He had his first internship in the mayor's office in communications, doing film editing. It started out editing Fortnite videos, which you know about them Fortnite. You know them kids in them Fortnite. You know what I'm saying? So right. So I know that having those titles behind your name But having that exposure and those connections, those personal relationships with people in your field will trump that piece of paper every time.
But you won't get in that circle without it.
But,
You
okay.
just said
He was
something.
15. He
You
didn't
just
have
said something
any-
about your
any
son's
letters behind his
internship, right?
name.
You just mentioned your son had an internship.
Yes, because we put him there, but it was nothing. It had nothing to do with anything attached to his name. Had nothing to do with certificates. Had nothing to do with any of that. We just knew a friend who knew a friend.
Okay.
So
but-
putting people, networking, once again, like how you were mentioning networking, and I swear I'm gonna get to you, Ms. Just let me finish this thought real quick. So, letting them be around those people and then developing those personal relationships has shown to be just as valuable and sometimes even more valuable than the piece of paper.
That's a small percentage of people, though, is what I'm telling you. That's a small percentage.
I feel like the perfect example of what y'all are talking about is like Venus and Serena Williams. How their parents or their dad took the time to see like they cared about tennis, so he built that foundation for them. It's like you can really do something with this. I see that you have the ability to do something with this, so I'm going to take the time with you and help you grow this because you care about it. It's something that you're passionate about.
Right.
So I just feel like that plays into that.
But at the same time, as a parent, what you got to realize is that shit costs money. So you can say you into something, and then 2 days from now, you're like, I don't really fuck with that no more. And I'm like,
And see,
And I can tell you too,
man,
man.
we just paid due. So it's a slippery slope.
And
It is
Venus and
slippery slope.
Serena
That's
has
when
some
it
of
comes
the
in
best
where
coaches
you
you
have to
can
really
buy.
get to know your children.
Right.
And a lot of parents don't do that.
Exactly.
You have to learn your child.
Certain kids get motivated by different things.
Right. And if you're not paying attention, you don't know what
You don't
to
know what
use
it
to
is.
motivate 'em.
You don't know what it is.
I'm telling you, Venus and Serena have some of the best coaches that you can find, which is the same equivalent to being in a classroom. They just brought the classroom to the tennis court, but they had somebody teaching them. They didn't just wake up and say, you know what, I'm finna be the baddest tennis player,
Oh,
and I'm
absolutely.
finna go
I
outside and
absolutely
teach myself how
agree
to
with
play
that. You gotta have
tennis.
somebody
It don't
teaching
work
them.
like that.
But when it
Tiger
comes to
Woods
the
didn't become the best
certificates,
golfer because his
sometimes
dad
those
was a good
letters
golfer.
and
He had
certifications
some of
don't
the
mean
best
that much.
coaches ever. If you don't have the education piece, you're gonna fail. I don't give a damn how you slice it. It may not be a formal sit in the classroom education,
Right.
but it's gonna have some sort of education. You drive a truck, right?
Yeah.
You certainly knew how to drive a car before you knew how to drive a truck,
Goddamn right. son.
didn't you?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a
absolutely
question.
agree with you on that.
You go
gotta
driving
have
that big
some
ass
know-how.
truck down the road without a license. What happens to you?
Your ass out of Dodge.
What you need a license for? You know how to drive it? What you need a license for?
That's actually just something the government wants.
Right.
Okay, well, let
We
me ask
all
you this.
can
You
drive.
go to your
Think
job.
about- hold
You
on,
show
think
to your
about
job
this.
and say, I want to drive this
Listen
truck,
what
but I ain't got
I'm-
no
listen what I'm
license.
about
They
to
gonna
do.
hire you?
So you got people. So we have a certain amount of hours we can drive, right?
Yep.
We can only drive 11 hours in one day.
In one day.
You got motherfuckers out here in regular cars driving for 24 fucking hours.
Yeah.
Loopy as hell, more
Wrecking
dangerous
like
than
a
any
mug.
truck driver
I always
could
say
ever
that.
be. So I don't know about that little argument. Gotcha.
No, you didn't. Because what you did, you actually just made my point.
No, I
Because
did not.
when you went to get your job, when you went to get your job to drive that truck, your ass had a license before you went there.
Yeah, that's a
You
requirement.
can't exactly.
That's a
You know why?
requirement.
You know what that
All right,
means?
fuck 'em.
Your ability to learn. That's
Right.
all the education is.
I get what you're
Your
saying.
education is the ability to show
But-
that you
but
can actually learn.
even with
Right.
Because when I hire you,
can
I'm gonna
see-
teach you to do it my way
But you
anyway.
can see it's a slippery slope. You can see like it's not.
You
black and
have
white.
to have the background in order to move forward, bro.
Like,
If you
take myself,
don't
for
have the
instance,
credentials, you're
when
gonna
it
make
comes to
less
me
money.
Working in finance for the state, I didn't know a thing about accounting. Nothing. I knew debits and credits in the checkbook. That was it. I didn't know anything, but I could type fast, and I was a quick learner.
How you learn how to type fast?
Oh, I was astrology.
So
Honestly.
before astrology, you learn how to type before you start messing with
I
astrology.
didn't learn how to type. I've always been really, really fast with my hands since I was little.
You ain't never had no typing in school though.
Oh no!
You're a
Oh, yeah, I
prodigy,
did.
like Cat
I had
Williams?
already learned how to type.
3,000 books by
But when I had my senior
you had
year,
typing in class-
my
in
senior
high school.
year, they said, "Hey, get an elective to get an A. That's an easy A, so you can boost your GPA up, so you can make sure you get this Hope scholarship."
No
And
doubt.
I'm looking at the list,
wait a
and I
minute,
was
hold on.
like,
we talking about education again,
"Oh,
right?
baby, I only went because my mama told me to."
But you
because I
went.
did not go. I did not want to go, and I did not finish. And you
but
couldn't
you
pay
went.
me $1 million.
So when you
to go
applied for
back
that
now.
accounting job, they seen your ass went to college.
No, they actually saw that I didn't finish. Which let me get
But you
to
went.
it. Let me get to it because that was what they told me. You don't have this degree. You can't do that. But hold on, let me get to it. So your question about typing in school, I was like, man, I already know how to type fast. I've been typing fast since I was in 5th grade. You know, I'm gonna take typing. Easy A. I made a 99 in that class. You remember on G Hall where they
Oh,
had
yeah.
typing? I
No doubt.
Right down there.
No doubt.
And you know, so I already knew how to
infamous
type.
G-Hall.
But it was because I just love to do things fast with my fingers. You know, whether it was piano, keyboard, typing, sewing, shelling peas, country girl. You know what I'm saying? All of those things. I have certain placements in my astrology chart that actually say you're gonna be good and fast with whatever you do with your hands. But you know, for your non-believing, but when I first got on with the state, it was a temporary job for data entry. I could keep fast and I could learn fast. You showed me something one time, I got it. And I said, oh, there's a new opening. I'm going to be an accounting paraprofessional. You know, I'm looking at the job description. I'm like, I know how to do all of this because all it basically is just reading this and typing this. I can do that. It's data entry. Oh, no. You don't have an associate's. No, I don't. So you can't do that. But I talked to my manager. My manager said, don't worry about it. In this business, and I had already known because my dad worked for the state for 30 years. And he used to tell me this all the time. The paper doesn't matter. What matters is who shows you favor. And so whoever you get to know, right, is who you know, not what you know, because you can take the dumbest somebody in the world, and as long as they know somebody, that somebody has got some power, they're going to put that dumb motherfucker in, you know, in that position.
But that's a
and you're
small
gonna be sitting
percentage
back
of
there
people.
mad. It ain't a small percentage
That's a
as
small
you think.
percentage.
A lot more than you think.
Right.
That's a small percentage.
So
When you talk
Kathy
about
Morey
a grand
told
thing
me,
of big people, that's a small percentage.
don't worry about the degree. I'm
I
going
like
to get you
flying
this
airplanes.
job.
I would
And
love
so-
to fly an airplane. I'm not
You talking
bullshitting.
about
you
flying an
wanna go.
airplane, but
I'm
baby,
telling you
this
right
is
now,
apples to oranges,
that's some
'cause how
shit that
many
I've been wanting
times
to do
you
my
know?
whole life. I've literally been wanting to fly an airplane my whole entire life.
So you
I
want
had
me to
every opportunity
you want me to
to learn
finish
how
my
to fly an
story telling you,
airplane. I
debunking
could
your
took my ass to
theory?
school, right? I could have went to the military. I had every opportunity to try and learn how to fly an airplane.
wanna hear that
I didn't want to do that. Now I'm 53 years old. I'm like, damn, you know, I really want to fly an airplane. Let me go on over here to Delta. Let them motherfuckers know, hey man, I'm 53. I've been driving cars and riding motorcycles. I can talk good shit
really
to people.
want to learn.
Just go and let me fly your airplane. You think they're finna give me a job?
I was told you can't have this job because you don't have this and that.
Sometimes you
The
can't
lady
have the
that I
job
worked
because you don't
for
have this and that.
told me, don't worry about that. I'm going to HR. I'm about to talk to somebody. She pulled out a favor card. Talk to him. 5 years later, oh, you can't get this other position because you don't have a bachelor's and you don't have 10 years experience and you can't do this and you can't do that. And somebody who showed me favor said, don't worry about it. I'm going to go holler at somebody. You remember that time I got your boy out of jail? Give her $50,000. It happened.
That's a small
This is not a small percentage. I have watched this happen time and time again, just with my personal career at the state, not from what I've learned from other people, but working for the state, and this is just in government. It also happens in the private sector as well. Happens in the education system as well. Why did this person get this position and not me? I'm overqualified. I know I'm qualified. I have a clean track record. My credit is great because you know they check credit nowadays
That's the
for
craziest shit ever.
for like, oh, you need a job. Well,
That's
you
the
ain't got
same
good
shit we
credit.
just told
Bitch, how
them
I'm supposed to
10
fix my
minutes ago
credit?
that they don't got to have.
No, I didn't say
In
that.
order
get
to
no job
work
after shit.
in
I
that
did not
particular
say
system, that's the thing. These kids don't want to have nothing to do with that system. They want to create their own system.
Good luck
And
with
it's
that.
time for a new system to be
Well, I
created.
mean, I see it happening.
Right,
Reinvent the wheel.
right.
I see it happening.
Good luck with
Right. I see it happening too. Things aren't going to always stay the same. Somebody got to come and break this system down
'Cause the shit
to
ain't
rebuild
working.
another one.
It's broken now.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's time to do it differently. That shit ain't working.
It's time to do something
You just
different.
told us a story about how when they was telling when you was in banking and they was going from cash to credit cards. You just told
Right.
us about that. That's a
That wasn't no uneducated person that did that shit. There ain't nobody in that bank without education. You don't just get no job doing that kind of shit just because you show up.
Books, though.
But see,
Come on, man. So again,
You gotta
you used to be a police officer.
Yeah, you
right?
gotta pay into it.
You used to be a police officer, right?
Yeah.
Before you became a police officer, they put your ass in what?
In the academy, because I had to.
And how
read
long did you
other
stay in
people.
there?
6 months.
Okay, hold on, stop, right, hold on. You became a police officer to protect and serve, right? It took 6 months for them to teach you to go out and protect and serve people. It took a whole 6
That's
months for
their
you to learn that.
requirement.
You know
That's
why?
what they require.
So when they put your ass on the loose on the street in that police uniform and you walk up and represent the police, they gonna say, Milton knows how to be a police. You know why I know how? You know how? Because we taught him. He has a certificate to prove that he passed.
And
According
now
to the
he's
police
gotta go
officers,
out
I
here
know
and
it's
get
done
the
for
real
insurance
life
purposes.
experience.
You can just go out there and be a police and protect and serve without that shit, right?
they did their requirements, but they still had their own ideas on how to.
Right.
To do the
And
job.
that's what I'm
Right.
telling you. You hit it right where I'm going. The goal is for you to be able to bring your own piece of it and change it to what you want. But in order to get there, you got to get in the door. And most people don't get in the door because they know somebody.
So it's a bullshit system, is what you're saying.
No.
I gotta go to
It's
school
not
to play
bullshit.
this
It's
game
actually
in
saying-
order to
He
be
does
able to
not
talk
want
to
to
you.
accept the fact that
No,
people
what
get
it's saying
favors
is
more than
there's a
he
reason that
thinks.
we have colleges, we have trade schools, because we want you to get these credentials. And when you get this credential, you get to come in this room. That's the
I
norm.
think that's the reason.
Everybody don't just show up and become a doctor.
If there was no school at all, you would have kids just wandering the fucking streets all damn
That
long.
wouldn't
It's
happen.
A construct.
That wouldn't happen. Because we need doctors, attorneys. We need those people.
Hold on, wait. Can I ask you? Because you just said you need to be able to do such and such to be here, like being a cop. You got to do academy.
Okay, let's see what your daddy
to
want.
be a cop. But when you're
He just
a
called.
cop, then now it's different because you're here now. Crooked cops, like they.
That's a
they're
decision,
all
though.
different.
They making a
Exactly.
decision.
It's a decision.
Yeah. But in order for them to make that decision, guess what? They had to have the qualifications to even make the decision.
Get in the job. Yeah.
You got to have the qualifications to get there.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. 'Cause
You have
if
to
it
meet
didn't
the
matter,
requirements.
then none of us would have went to school.
What you say?
Yeah, I can hear
Oh, that's right.
Would you go to a doctor that didn't go to college? Your ass needs surgery. You just gonna roll up on the doctor sitting on the
Is
road
he
over here
good?
without
I'm
no
glad you
degree?
didn't ask me that question.
Is he good?
Because I ain't going for surgery. I don't care how many credentials you got.
Well,
you ain't
I don't know
cutting.
about that.
Well, that's your personal take on it.
But yeah, right. That's
guess what?
my
You know what?
whole
You know what's
point.
funny
There's
about that?
always a different way to do things.
You know what's funny about that?
So just because somebody chooses a different way to do something doesn't mean that it's wrong.
You know what's funny about that? When it comes down to a life and death situation, you're gonna choose the actual qualified doctor.
You are crazy as hell if you
That's
think
why
you know
he-
what I'm
but
going
don't-
to
you don't
choose.
You're
think
definitely gonna
that's
choose a
why they put him
qualified
there
doctor. You're not
and
gonna
put him
just
in that
choose somebody
position?
random off the street that ain't got the
He
credentials.
didn't, the Almighty didn't put them there for me.
Okay.
And that's my choice.
So you
Because we have free will,
Yeah, we
right?
goddamn right.
You know what I'm saying? Take my mom, for instance. My mom has been dead for, it'll be 13 years in March. She had colon cancer. She had a tumor about this big in her belly. Ooh, we tried so hard. Paulette, please get chemo. Paulette, please get the surgery. Please do this. Please stop smoking. Please take your supplements. Please stop eating everything pork.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, this is my life. I'm going to end it the way I want
That's how
to.
my mother was.
And I'm good.
That's how my mother
I'm
was.
surrounded by people I love. I've done the things in my life that I wanted to do. I'm straight. And we had to realize that, you know what? That was her choice.
Yeah.
We had to honor her choice.
Yeah.
So even though there are people here put and in place to do certain things, doesn't mean that we're obligated to
But
allow
see,
them to.
I'm kind of rocking with Troy because everybody can't be a doctor. You can go to school to be a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Don't mean you're gonna pass the classes. It
happens all the time.
I agree with you on
You
that.
gotta be wired.
Yeah,
a certain
it's
way.
you
certain
can pass the
things that you
classes and
have to
still
be
be a
wired.
and
shitty
still
doctor.
be there. You go.
Right.
Dog, let me
and
tell
I
y'all
feel the
something.
same way about teachers.
My
you can
sister-in-law
be
right
trained
now.
to be a
Right.
teacher, but
I
if
got a
it's not in
sister-in-law
you, it
right
doesn't
now,
matter.
graduated from Harvard with a 4.0 grade point average from Harvard. When it was time to go to medical school, do you know she got turned down by damn near 5-6 different schools
She
with a
ain't know nobody.
4.0 grade point average? So I had to call. I said, wait a minute, help me understand this. You mean to tell me there is hundreds of people with a higher than 4.0 grade point average? She said, yeah. I got a 4.0 from Harvard, but I did not get accepted to go to USC Medical School.
That's right.
How in the hell did that happen? You know how that happened? Because there's so many other kids that's smart as hell with a little bit higher grade point average than she had.
You don't
with
think
a
the alumni
4.0
had
from
anything to
Harvard.
do with it?
Yeah, and also them kids knew
She gonna
somebody.
be a brain
Amen.
surgeon.
Somebody.
They were legacies to that school.
Right.
She gonna be a brain
She gonna
surgeon.
get bumped to the side.
So eventually she's gonna work on people's brains.
Okay.
That ain't no shit you just roll up and start doing without no education.
No,
of
nobody's
course,
saying
everybody
that.
knows
Nobody's
that.
saying that.
Nobody, you know, that's nothing about what, I'm not saying that. I know these two young ladies aren't saying that either. There are certain professions where you're going to need a certain level of education, training, and all of that good stuff. But then there are other ways to make a living.
I'm not saying
where
there's
you
not.
don't.
I've
That's
used
all
all of
we're
them.
saying.
I've been a owner of a business. I've done crooked shit.
What
Like
you do now?
I work in finance. Same thing I actually got a degree in
You
30
work in
something years
finance?
ago.
What you do in finance?
I work in auto finance. I loan money to car dealerships.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're a lender.
So when you drive past, I'm not a lender. I'm actually I manage their portfolio. But when you drive down the
Okay.
street and you see car dealerships, they got all them cars in their parking lot. That ain't their money that put them cars out there for sale.
Well, we know
They
that.
they borrow
Well, I
a
can't
bank's
say
money
we all
to get
know that
inventory.
because, yeah.
That's how it's one big ass circle. No matter how rich you are, you're using somebody else's
It's
money.
always a circle.
Because if you ain't using nobody else's money, you ain't making no money.
Right.
Right? That's just finance. So what I was telling these young ladies earlier, if you don't start worrying about how you're gonna have consistent finance, you get to be in your 30s without that portion of it, it's gonna be real rough going into your 50s.
Absolutely. And
Because
that's
you
why
have
young
not
ladies need to make
established
sure you
a
continue
credit
to
history.
network,
You've not
because that's
established
where your investments are going to
a
come from.
stability history. What you've established is I'm gonna do it my way, and when you do it your way, you have to live with those consequences. Because as a banker, I'm not gonna lend you money because I like the way you look. I'm not gonna lend you money because you're Jordan's or whoever's friend
Or
or
your
daughter or
TikTok is
none of that shit. The only way you're gonna get this loan is you got to qualify on these things that's required. Because legally, I got to treat you the same way that I treat the person next to you. Right? So that's percentage of I got your boy out of jail, so you get my person a job. That's actually illegal.
And we are living in a country that is built off of illegal activity.
But my point is, that's a small percentage. The majority of people actually have to go through the proper channels, right, to achieve the things they want. And it's going to take some sacrifice.
Okay.
It's going to take you to have a
absolutely
dream
agree with you
and
on
a
that.
job. Sometimes you got to work your job to get to your dream. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to do them both.
I absolutely agree with you on
Because
that.
with that
The
W-2
average
income,
person
that
absolutely has to
W-2
do it
is stability.
legally.
That's how
But
you
that
get a house.
1% that holds the
And there's
majority
some
of the
that do-
wealth
yeah, it's a lot.
ain't doing it legally.
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. But the ones that's doing it illegally, guess what? They got good fucking credit.
Their
I can
businesses
tell you
do.
right now, you go out there and find some of them dudes that's getting money in the street, the first thing they work on is getting good credit for a reason. You can't buy
I wasn't
shit without it.
necessarily referring to like people doing business, in the street. I'm talking about the illegal. Let's bypass certain requirements because of who we know.
I mean, that
type
happens
of
all the
things.
time. But that's, again, that's a
Nepotism
small percentage.
is running
that's
rampant.
not big.
Well, and you know what? And I have to admit, in Atlanta, nepotism is huge.
What?
It's huge.
What?
I mean, it works for me. It worked for my
Get your
ex-husband.
cheeseburger.
You know what I'm saying? And
But the thing is that the bottom line is that you have to have the stability piece in order to make your dreams come true. Because if you don't have that part, then your dream ain't realistic. Because the majority of people can't afford to live off of their dream, right? You can open up a small business, something that you're passionate about, and actually love and enjoy doing it every single day of your life. But it does not provide the means for you to be able to live. That's not a fun life, right? So the key is to figure out, okay, I enjoy doing this part. Like me personally, I enjoy doing stunts. I enjoy working on set. But that shit don't pay the bills, right? So while it's a passion and it's fun, I can't take that shit to Publix. So I can't go and tell my job, I'm going to quit my job because I want to go follow my dream.
I did.
You can't do that.
And so far, it's been the best.
Sometimes you can, right? But the
Sometimes
majority
you
of
can.
people can't just
Yeah,
walk in
sometimes
and be like,
you
I
can,
quit.
but the
You
majority
can't
of people
discount
can't do it.
Right.
I waited until I got to a position with my support system where I was able to walk away from my career and focus on the things that make me happy.
That's what I'm
I
telling
got
them.
to a
You-
point
that
where
early on with that W-2, that provides your ability down the line to walk away. But you got to establish that now. You got to have some shit over here before you walk away over there.
And if you don't have that, and
You're
this
gonna be
goes
living
back
with your
to
parents.
what I mentioned earlier about off-grid living. If you can learn how to live off the land, you will be able to pursue your dreams much easier. If
Right.
you're not dependent,
Well, they lazy as hell, so I don't know about
Not
that.
all of them.
Not all of them. Not
'Cause
all.
my boy is lazy when it comes to schoolwork, even though he has a 3.5 GPA as a junior.
Oh, smart.
And you say
thing.
live off the land as if they
But
just
he
go out
will
and
get
pitch
his
tent.
butt up and go outside with that shovel and dig and
I
plant
think I'm gonna tell Bryce
and
he need to
nurture
live off
and
the
harvest
land, pitch
and
a
be
tent
like,
in the
Mama, I got
backyard."
dinner for the
Grow
night.
some corn.
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been an interesting.
I know, and we didn't even talk about all of the creepy stuff.
No, we didn't even go there.
I know.
We will though.
All right, so before we get out of here, give everybody all your info, where they can reach you at, how they can get at you, talk
Okay.
to you, all that good stuff.
All right, awesome. You guys.
And go slow, because I think I'm gonna get Bryce to type it across the bottom.
Okay.
Tag you in the Hus-Band Show podcast.
That's
Yay,
right. That's
thank
right.
you. I appreciate that. Well, you guys can contact me on TikTok and Instagram at Golden Lady Oracle or Golden Lady Intuitive. I actually have accounts under both. On Facebook, I am Lanika Shireen Smith Dancy. If you're interested in any of my eco luxury body care products, you can reach me at lumerianaturals.com. And yeah, that's about it.
When you gonna write a book?
Uh-oh.
I'm working on one now.
I thought so. I thought so.
Troy, when you gonna write a book?
Man, I need to be writing books because it sounds like it's some easy shit to make money on, man.
Look,
I ain't
don't
gonna
take
hold
the
you up.
punk's way out and go through Chat GPT and have them write the book for you.
What's
Write it
wrong with
yourself.
that?
No, I don't do it. I don't
We
do it.
real writers despise
man.
you cheaters.
Might get a script for the next pod. I like that shit. All right.
But no, because I believe you have some really original ideas, so it would be great for you to write the book, actually, yourself
some
from your
stories.
creative
He-
ideas.
I got some original ideas because I actually grew up and lived through a lot of this shit that I talk about. You know what I'm saying? I don't come on here and talk about no shit I dream about. I grew up with parents that kept that shit 100% real with us, right? My daddy came to the table when I was in the ninth grade. He told me flat out, I'm not paying for you to go to college, period. So if your ass want to go to college, you're going to figure it out.
Figure it out.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign your ass up to go to the Army. Because the Army going to give you an education. It's going to send your ass around the world, and you're going to get a job. So in the ninth grade, now, I got a sister. Smart as hell. Ever since we was little kids, she said, I want to be a doctor. No matter what, every time we have family dinner, what you want to be, Troy? I don't know. Marcy, what you want to be? A doctor. Right? So now, this shit done got to be real. Now, I'm in the ninth grade, she in the eighth grade. What you want to be, Marcy? I want to be a doctor. Then my daddy told me right then, I'm putting my money with her. If anybody in this house going to college that I'm paying for,
Right.
it's going to be her.
Yeah.
Because she put that foundation in all along. Right? Now, as a 52-year-old, she's a doctor. And been a doctor for a long ass time. You know what I'm saying? So my father kept it real with us saying, hey, it ain't about me telling you what to do, but you're going to do something. You ain't going to just sit around here with a dream. And this whole, back then, in the early 80s, we was rappers too. This wasn't no new shit, right? In the late 70s and the early 80s, we wanted to be rappers too.
Yeah.
That was the new shit to us.
I was a rapper.
That shit didn't pay.
Shut your mouth. For real.
That shit didn't pay nothing, right? My pops told me, man, you better go find a skill and some shit you can do to be able to feed yourself. I wanted to go to play football in college. That was my dream. So it's okay, if that's what you want to do, then your ass better start making some progress toward that because I'm going to send you to the Army. Right? Because that's where he went. Vietnam drafted his ass to the Army.
Oh, bless his heart.
So that's the trap that we talk about. That was the trap. It was easy for me to be like, fuck it, I ain't going to do shit. I just go to the Army. He did. He made out all right. He got a pretty
And he
good job.
broke
He
that.
did okay. Shit, I'm going to try that too. Or I can put myself in a situation where I can become higher educated. So now I'm going in the rooms that my father couldn't go in. Right? And guess what happened? As I got older and had my own kids, they now go in the rooms that I can't go in. So you see what I'm saying? It's generational, not just a trap all the time, but it also is an elevator. When you putting yourself in a situation where your parents is keeping it real, you tend to understand the real side a lot faster, and you value the time that you spend doing your entrepreneurial because you understand I got to do this first. So I'm gonna have to bust my ass early on in my life so that when I become 50, I can live as an entrepreneur. Right? It's a whole nother ball of wax to say I want to be an entrepreneur, but can your ass live off of that? That's what I'm talking about. Everybody can be a business owner. I can be an influencer. I can be whatever this internet shit is. But if that shit ain't paying the bills, you're a burden on your parents.
Yeah.
Period. Because they don't want to see you doing bad.
And we just talked about that. Live your life. Do what you want to do. Be successful. Live your dreams. But I don't want your shit falling back on me.
So that means I got to steer your ass into making sure that you finna go do the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? I got to steer that conversation of, hey, you do realize this school shit only a couple years. This shit finna be over. It's only a couple years of the school shit. After that, you got the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right? Your situation with Jordan. I mean, not Jordan. With your situation with your son, right? He's going to school right now learning a trade.
Yeah.
When this shit is over with, these 2 or 3 years that he's going through, when that shit over with, he gonna use that for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But without that, he won't go into any of them rooms.
Yeah.
Cause it's no longer that, I'm Bill's son or I'm such and such cousin. Again, that's gonna be a few people gonna get through with that. That it's gonna be a couple of them, and those jobs are gonna be limited, right? Anytime your homeboy hooking you up or your cousin or somebody helped you get a job, that job has got limitations. You only gonna make so much money on that job. That's the reality. That's why anybody can take it. When the job becomes something that becomes huge, there's only a small amount of people gonna get that job, and only the best of the best gonna be qualified for that job. And if your ass ain't got them credentials, slam the door on it. It's over. You can go to work, and I'm sure all of us do it right now. We go to work right now every single day with people that walk past us that make double our salary. You think they make double your salary because they look better than you? Let me guess, because they white?
It could have been everything. It could have been a little bit of everything.
No, it's more of they have a skill set
Trying not to bring
that's a
my
little bit
personal
more
experiences
advanced.
into this because
That's how
I've
they
seen
get
the
the favor.
opposite.
I mean, but
A lot.
you got to admit, though, it's a lot of people that spend a whole lot of fucking money and a whole lot of time going to school for some shit that they don't even make money at, once they graduate.
You have to make a decision, right? Everybody that go to college don't get great jobs. I'm not finna tell you that for a second. And I'm not finna tell you to go to college. I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
Only reason my kids went to college because they was athletes.
Okay.
If not, they would have gone to trade schools. Something that didn't cost a whole lot of money, and they could actually get a job.
Right.
I'm not telling everybody to go to college by any means. But I'm telling you, your ass got to get a trade. You got to get the certificates.
Yeah.
Because without that, nothing's gonna work. You can't drive a truck without the license.
You right.
I cannot practice finance without a license.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. You have to have some type of know-how
Right.
in order to get somewhere. Like, for instance, with my lazy son that I was just talking about, that doesn't have a problem gardening and growing his own food, but wants to turn in every single assignment right at the last minute. He's about to have an engineering certification at the end of this semester in high school. He ain't gonna probably do nothing with it,
But he got it.
but he got it. It was easy. He didn't have to do junior ROTC because, that's where they, in APS, in Atlanta Public Schools, when you come in as a freshman, they automatically put you in junior ROTC until you choose to do something else. So he didn't want to do that. So he was like, well, I did like playing with Legos when I was little, and I did robotics. So I guess I'll do engineering. And I was like, bet. But he'll have that certification before he even graduates with a high school diploma.
And if he never use it until
Yeah,
whenever he
probably
decided he
never
was going to
use
use it, he got it.
Right. But he loves editing, singing, writing, rapping, fashion design, all of that quirky artsy stuff. So, yeah, you have to have something to fall back on, but you also have to have the kahunas to go after what it is that you really feel that's your purpose
y'all saying
or
the
your
same
niche.
thing.
And I don't think this generation
Right.
got a problem with going after
Right.
anything. I think this
what
generation, they jump off the porch way faster than we
I
would.
think
They
this
not afraid.
generation jumps off the porch without the internal skills. They don't, because I'm going to go ahead on and take this shot at my own generation, Gen X, and it's the boomers' fault because the boomers didn't do it for us. But we didn't instill a certain amount of self-confidence and self-worth in our children that makes them say, you know what, I want this. I feel worthy enough to do whatever it takes to get it. And they're like, well, I can do this. But then they jump out there and they don't really believe in themselves. They're only acting like they believe in themselves. And part of that came from us not really instilling that in them from when they were small.
Right.
Because we didn't know
talked
how to
about
do
that.
it because nobody did it for us.
We talked about that. And that's what I mean by giving them that structure and helping them with the education piece. Because with that education piece comes confidence.
You
right?
always want a foundation. Basically.
Gotta have it.
And
Yeah.
whatever we talking about.
I'm confident when I
Kids
feel like
and
I know what I'm
heroes.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I'm confident as hell, right? If I know what I'm talking about, I'm confident in a mug, right? But if I'm shaky and really don't know, if I know what I'm talking about, I'm not that confident. The confidence comes from A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They know that shit, so can't nobody tell them no other order, right? You're not finna walk up to no kindergarten and tell them no other way to say the ABCs. I don't give a damn how many times you try, because they confident enough to know they know how to do that right?
That's true.
That builds confidence. That's what I mean about the younger generation. When you get them the right tools and they have the right education to stand behind the words, you can't stop them from doing shit. Because not only do they have the ability to show you they can do it, but they're not afraid to try.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we didn't have. We was, at least me,
No, it was our
I was
generation.
afraid
we were
to try
terrified.
shit that I wasn't comfortable with.
Yeah, we were terrified.
Because I didn't want to fail.
Right.
Right? So I don't want to step out there and try no shit that I might fail in. They're not afraid of that.
Right.
They'll get on that trapeze wire and walk. Like,
walk
fuck
it. They'll walk it.
What's going to happen? If I fall, I fall. Right? We're not even getting on the wire.
Right.
Let alone trying to walk across it. We ain't even getting up there.
With that fearlessness comes the fact that they know that if they do fall, we're gonna pick them up.
Well, not all of them got
Safety
that.
net.
Not all of them got a safety net. Now, let me
I know
be
we
very
didn't.
clear.
Yeah, this is true.
Let
know
me
what
be
I
very
mean?
clear, because I said it
might be
earlier.
Why we didn't take chances
Exactly.
on stuff because we didn't have.
And a lot of them don't either. And I know I referenced being
I'll tell you
30-year-old
right now.
living with your parents, but that's not everybody's case. There's a whole lot of young folks that don't have stability at all.
Right.
There's a lot of 25, 26-year-olds that literally have to do it on their own and teach themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm fully
14,
aware that this
15-year-olds.
is not just everybody 30 living with their parents. I'm not saying that by any means.
That's what I always say. That's putting you behind the curve. When you're almost 30 and you're still trying to make it and figure shit out for your fucking self, how can you start a family? How can you pour into somebody else and be who you need to be for them? So it's almost like with technology and all the stuff that they have going on, it's kind of holding them back.
It's definitely holding
when
them
it
back.
comes to the family dynamic.
It's holding them back, no doubt.
I can't blame the technology. You got to blame the individual.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to blame the
It's
individual.
what's in you.
It's
Because
blame the individual.
like
It's so
that-
much though.
you can have the internet, all this technology, but if the person themselves doesn't say, I deserve better than what I'm giving myself, or my family deserves better than what I'm giving them, it doesn't matter whether the technology is there or not. It's a place of low self-esteem that they're coming from, a place of not feeling worthy and probably not even aware that they feel like they're not worthy to get up and do what's necessary for them to have the type of life they want to have or give their family the life that they want to have. Because if that was the case, then everybody would be making the same exact decisions because we have the technology, but we're not. Some of us are choosing to do better than others.
Yeah.
Some of us are choosing to sit around and be like, well, shit, I ain't gonna do nothing. So you have to look at the individual instead of the environment. Now, because you can put some, like for instance, my dad and his brothers, same environment, same parents, well, same mama, because none of their daddies was there. But my dad decided to take one route. His younger brother decided to take a different route, and then his baby brother decided to take another route. 3 kids, all in the same household, all raised the same, all exposed to the same exact things, but each one of them took a different turn. So you have to look at the individual. You can't just look at the circumstances or the technology or the opportunities or anything. You have to look at what that person decides they want to do with it.
I think what he was talking about though is the technology piece is what's giving them the lie, right? The technology piece is what's showing them a fake life, and that fake life is becoming their reality. So they chasing a dream that ain't even real,
Because everybody ain't lit.
and that's what the
life
problem
ain't
is.
lit
And so
like
we
that.
got a whole generation of people right now living off what they think somebody else is doing.
That didn't happen to us with television?
No, not at all. We didn't. First of all, our generation didn't get a chance to watch. I'm a little bit older.
We
than you,
looked at
so
television and we saw them jokers gang banging and slinging rocks.
I would
And
just
we
tell you,
went
when
out
I
there
started
and
looking at TV,
slanged
TV
and
used to
throw
go
them
off.
rocks.
Right?
Television
TV used to go off at like 2:00 in the morning.
When it turned to snow.
Right? It used to literally TV shuts off.
National anthem.
So we spent the majority of
Yeah.
our time outside, running around doing shit outside. We didn't just sit in front of the TV constantly. First of all, we didn't have a bunch of color TVs. It was a bunch of black and white TVs, and it was only like 4 or 5 fucking channels.
Right.
So it wasn't a whole lot of shit to watch.
Okay.
We spent our time outside. Whereas now, they don't not only have a TV, but they have a TV, a computer, and all that shit in their hand. So whereas we had to stop playing, go in the house, hope somebody else ain't watching TV, to go try and change the channel that we want to watch. That requires some work. They can pick that phone up at any second and watch whatever they want at any given time. That's what's happening. So that phone is another another hand, right? So now they got 3 hands because they got the phone and they 2 hands. And that phone ain't coming about that hand. All day long, they looking at that phone. And the majority of the time, they looking at social media. And the majority of those things that they looking at is somebody else's post. And the person who made that post put it out there because they want you to think they're doing better than they are. That's why they're doing it. That's why you see them walking around with a big wad of money on their ear, like they got a big ass cell phone,
Money phone.
right? Why do you think that became so popular?
Different perspective.
Do you think they really got all that money?
No.
Oh, no. Different
Do
perspective.
you think they got all that money?
I know my kids don't.
I
but
bet
those
you
is
right
my
now the
kids.
majority of them young folks like they rich as hell.
The majority.
They think Lil Scrappy is fucking Bill Gates.
But
Now-
let me tell you, somebody is also using their phone to look at your show and hear what you're talking.
That's the other perspective.
That's exactly. But
That's
my
the other
point is,
perspective.
the point that I'm making is we didn't have the ability to do that all day long. It required us some time to actually go and move around. You had to invest in watching TV. You had to invest in looking at entertainment. It wasn't just as easy as pick up your phone.
Yeah, we couldn't Google. Google was
Y'all have it so much
the
easier now
encyclopedia.
that
all
you
we
don't
had
even
was
have to
mechanical.
actually.
All the way out.
Here's the crazy part, and I bet you only. How old are you? 27. Did you have cursive? Was you taught cursive when you was in school? Do you know right now today, the 17-year-olds that's only 10 years younger than you, never been taught how to write in
Bryson
cursive?
can only sign his name.
Yeah, print.
Do you think that's a problem?
He can cursive write it.
I
For the name,
actually
that's
have
it.
a funny
Yeah.
story about cursive. My sons did not learn cursive.
They stopped teaching it. They don't even
But they
teach it in
learned how to
school no more.
code.
Look, the difference because you know.
And that's
my
what
cousin-
my
You
son's
know,
in school for.
They learned how to code by the time they were in 3rd grade.
My cousin's 17. I was taught cursive. And I actually really don't know. I kind of wanted to
Yeah, check them,
do
find
some
out.
research on that one.
He'll be like, nah, I ain't never had no class taught me
my
cursive.
sons are 17 and 15 now, and they were not taught how to write in cursive. But by the time they ended 3rd grade, they both knew how to code. I don't know how to code.
Exactly.
So they took one thing out
So
and they gave another.
You hit my point. So they
So-
know how to code.
Yes.
Did you hear
God.
what she just said?
Yeah, yeah,
How do you learn? Where do you even get code from?
right.
That damn telephone.
Oh, no.
They ain't
wait a
went
minute.
to the library and pulled up no microfiche and none of that shit.
Yeah,
That
With
that whole
encyclopedias.
thought came out that
Oh,
telephone.
you're talking. Oh, so you're saying that the whole purpose for learning code is the phone?
No. The way that they even thought about this shit, the idea came in their mind from that telephone.
No, this was part of their curriculum in school.
Yeah, but that telephone makes it easier because
They
they
didn't
can
have
real
phones?
time.
Technology is
Oh,
evolved.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, they can
I'm like,
they can
wait a
they
minute,
can
my
see
boys
it
didn't
real
even
time in
have
their
phones.
hand. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know shit about code.
no.
No, because
when somebody was saying
computers
some
were just
code to you look at that as like
starting
code
to-
what?
yeah.
Code
to-
word.
a cheat code to beat this damn
no,
video
no.
game.
Dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They learn code, computer programming, robotic programming, all of that kind of stuff they learn in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade.
We didn't get taught that shit
Yeah.
when I was in school. You know what
Yeah.
they taught us? Handwriting, reading, math, basic shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted the majority of us to go in the workforce and work blue collar jobs.
They did want
So
y'all to
the
work
education
blue-collar
piece
jobs.
for us was tailored toward building a car, making buildings,
And by the
paving
time my
roads.
generation, or because like I'm at the tail end of Gen X, you know, I wasn't born in the late 60s,
You're a
early
middle
70s.
child like J.
I'm
Cole.
77,
You're a
so
middle
you know
child.
I ain't 80s though. I
Yeah,
think
you're a
J. Cole
middle
might be
child.
80s.
Yeah, you're a middle child.
And I call them millennials. They don't have enough. No,
Oh,
they could
shit.
never. But because they didn't have it as rough as we did. But with me, by the time I got to high school in class of 95, it was computer technology, computer programming, computer analyst. You know, those were the jobs that we were pushed towards. So now with my sons coming up, they're more with the write the programs, you know, create the technology or create the next level of technology because we about to tap out on what we know. You know what I'm saying? Google about to tap out.
Yeah.
When I graduated from
ChatGPT and AI
college,
done came in, and you know everything
over.
that we know that we had to learn about computers
Yeah.
is
whole
almost
different game.
obsolete.
Yep.
when I
So-
graduated from college, we had 2 computer rooms on that whole campus.
Only 2?
When I first got to college, we didn't have a computer room.
Shut your mouth.
We had
What year did
typewriter
you get
rooms.
to computer? What year did you get to college?
You go type your paper on a typewriter in a room with 50, 60 typewriters in the room. It wasn't no computers.
Oh wow!
When I first started working in the
I got
bank,
one for Christmas, girl. I loved it.
when I first started working in the bank,
Uh-huh.
we did everything by hand. We didn't have no computers.
That's why my money was fucked up.
Yeah.
All the work went downtown by hand.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have no computers. We had to actually do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Today,
I'm not gonna lie.
you don't have to do no work.
As somebody in finance, Excel is my best friend. Excel
We didn't
is
have
my
no damn
absolute
Excel.
best friend. Man, I ain't calculating all that stuff by
We didn't have
hand.
none of
Y'all
that
crazy.
shit. We had a financial calculator. You probably never even seen
Yes,
one.
I have.
Have y'all seen a financial calculator before? You probably can't even turn it on. Most people look at a financial calculator and be like, what the hell is this?
When I first started working for the state in 06, we still had some. We didn't use them. They were just in the supply closet.
Yeah,
But yeah, they were still there.
that was our everyday life. That was our computer.
Yeah.
She got a good question.
Is it the one that prints the paper?
No.
No, that's
A
just
financial
regular
calculator
tape
actually
calculator.
it combines, it does functions. So it'll create formulas, right? Just like a calculator would. So you got part of it's got numbers and a part of it's got letters and it's got symbols. So as you're typing in to do certain formulas, you use all these different keys.
The scientific calculator.
It's actually made by
Texas Instruments.
Texas Instrumental.
Texas
It's the
Instruments,
same concept. And have you ever worked in Excel, Microsoft Excel? And you know how you have the little F with the X by the side? With Excel, you can just click on which function you want. With financial calculator, you
gotta
gotta
actually
type
do
that
the
shit out.
formula. Yeah. So that's the
That's
way
why I
I
said
that's the way I
everybody
learned how
doing
to do it. We had to actually sit down and do the formulas. So today, I got a bunch of folks that work on my job right now that make very good livings that can't work a financial calculator. They've never been taught how. So if something happened to the computer, which sometimes the shit go down, right? They can't do shit. They stuck. They can't calculate nothing because the computer don't work. So our whole day at work stops because you can't do the basics of your actual job because the computer don't work. So the rest of us pull out our calculators and get busy. Yeah. But the young folks sitting around looking at us like, what the hell is that? Not to say it's wrong. That just wasn't a part of the curriculum, right? When they grew up, when y'all came through school, they had bigger dreams and bigger pictures for y'all. Like I said, when we came along, they taught us how to build cars. I can't tell you how many Voltex in Detroit.
Man, what?
That was all automotive.
Voltec I used to go to. Go lightly.
Nothing but automotive.
Go lightly. Deep east side.
You're gonna learn how to build a car. You're gonna learn how to build buildings. You're gonna learn how to pave roads. That's the shit they taught us. Yeah. Right?
And that's the shit that they need now.
They do.
That's what's crazy.
They do.
You know why they need it?
People to do that
because
shit,
they figured out they don't pay that much. Money. So people like, I'm not doing that shit. Yeah. They don't pay nothing.
That's what they need now.
How you you think you can get a younger person right now to go work in construction for $20 an hour?
Heavy equipment and shit like that.
Standing outside in that hot ass sun, all that for $20 an hour.
Yeah. First of all, they don't want to go outside.
Man, I just seen an advertisement, and I'm getting off track, but I just seen an advertisement just the other day. It's on 78. It's a billboard. They have openings. They're starting to hire for spring, for not just cotton pickers, but farm hands. Right? I call them cotton pickers because they pick cotton too. You know how much they pay them farm hands, Doc? $55 an hour.
They don't want to do it though.
They got a big ass billboard. $55 an hour with no education at all. You just got to go out there and work in the field and pick shit.
Y'all paying attention?
Yeah.
Get your ass in that
spark
field.
Jordan's attention.
People still pick cotton. We live in Georgia.
Somebody got to pick.
Cotton comes
Mostly
out the ground naturally in Georgia.
Yeah, mostly prisoners, right?
And that's slavery.
It is.
It is. Yeah. It absolutely
It's by
is.
another name, but yeah.
But you guess what? It's a whole lot of black kids right now. They're like, shit, I ain't going to pick no damn cotton.
Right.
Shit, I ain't picking no cotton.
What about
You know why?
Jordan?
Because we done told them about being a cotton picker. 55. Jordan hit it right on the head. $55 an hour. It ain't hard to do that math, Jordan. $55 an hour is gonna pay you about $80,000 a year, $85,000 a year.
At your age.
At your age.
Crazy.
Now, when you're having that conversation with somebody talking about picking cotton, right? Okay, yeah, I pick cotton for $85,000 a year. What you do? Oh, I'm an influencer. I make $20,000 a year. How many steaks you buying with that 20?
Like my mama don't care.
Exactly, because I ain't got no rent. Well, Jordan like shit. I just bought my own crib. Oh, and by the way, you see that convertible sitting over at the curb? That's mine.
Than me.
You know what I'm saying?
Picking ass.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
Jordan, I want
right?
you to read that cotton picking billboard.
That's what I'm talking about though. It ain't about what you do, it's how you do it, but you have to prepare yourself because if you don't, there's a cap.
Right.
A cotton picker's only gonna make so much money.
Yeah.
Period.
And let me check this out, y'all. Y'all got 4 adults sitting up here giving y'all the tea of the ins and the outs. It's up to you to pick your path and make that shit work for you. Because it's all about just being a decent person at the end of the day. And if you decide to get married, which we all believe, do you believe that the black family is the key to us becoming who we are? The married, okay, all right. Well, okay. Like
well, that's exactly what our show is about. what we do here.
I'm in full support of that.
Our goal is to make sure these young women, young men, learn how to become married couples, and it ain't just always through trial and error, right? Because it's definitely gonna be trial and error. But if we can tell you, if you run full speed into that wall with your head, it's probably gonna leave a gash. Would you go run your head into that wall? You're going to listen to us, right? Because you know the consequence of hitting that wall probably is going to hurt. You can see that. You can't see what we saying. We telling you right now, 20 years from now, life could be totally different based on your decision. But if you can't physically go touch the decision like you can touch that wall, it's up to you to believe it, right? That wall you believe because you can go over there and knock on it and you know that shit hurt. What we trying to tell y'all hurts worse than that wall. Because some of the decisions that you make as a young person may not come back next year, the year after next. That shit may not come back for 15 years.
It will take you an entire lifetime.
No doubt.
to work yourself out of it.
I'm telling you.
Now, to go back to, do I feel that the black family? What was that question again? Because I just want you to be. I want to be specific.
Family is the key to getting our community where it needs to be, moving forward. From right
In
now.
a way, I do. But what I believe the key is personal accountability and authenticity. Because you can have black families that don't have accountability and that aren't authentically themselves, and it will create a clusterfuck of bull crap that you do not want to deal with. So yes, I do believe that the black family is definitely essential. However, in order to have a healthy black family, we have to have personal accountability and a sense of authenticity and even self-love, so to speak, because authenticity and accountability to me equals self-love. If you don't love yourself, why would you want to take accountability? Because to take accountability is to have to truly see who you authentically are so that you can get better, so that you can evolve, so that you can grow, so that you can be that stable foundation for us to get better as a community. So if you're not doing that part, but you're creating families that are going to ultimately destroy us.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cause that's what we talk about.
We rocking.
We want to make sure they prepared.
What you got, cuz, before we get up out this piece?
So in conclusion, I think what we all saying is you do need a foundation, and it should include a lot of things: spirituality, self-worth, knowing who you are, and going after you. It's okay to be a dreamer, but you know you got to have stability and a foundation to achieve that dream. You got to have the work ethic to get out there and get it. At some point, it's got to click. If I want B, I got to do A. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing.
Yeah, I agree 110%. Well, damn, I feel like this was all right. We might have to split this up into 2 parts, part 1 and part 2.
It was long enough. No.
Yeah, all right. Well, as usual, we appreciate y'all for stopping through and kicking it with us. I'm Perry.
I'm Trouble T. Roy.
Big Vince.
And Lanika.
Working around the clock, so I ain't never taking off. And I'm working this hard for a reason. Been a minute trying to make it right. Saying, baby, this is our season.